it's Amy and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is about an important run in your weekly running schedule, and that is the recovery run. In this video, I'm going to cover what is a recovery run, why it is important, when to do them, and how to do a recovery run. Before I dive right in, don't forget to click the subscribe button and the bell icon so you get notified every time I upload a new video. So let's talk about the recovery run. A recovery run is a slower run done typically around 24 hours or at least 5 hours after a hard effort like an interval workout, a tempo run, or a long run. They're usually done around 60 to 90 seconds slower than your typical pace or at 60 to 75% of your maximum heart rate. I'm going to talk about how to calculate that later on in the video, don't worry. Typically, if you run more than 3 times a week, one of those runs should be a recovery run. Recovery runs are important for many reasons. One benefit is that it gets the blood circulating in your body. This will help with things like getting rid of lactic acid and helping repair and restore your muscles, because the more oxygen you have to muscles, the quicker and more able it is to repair itself. I just find movement really helpful for me and just helps my body just not stiffen up and be so sore, especially if I did a big workout. So I try to even go for a walk, especially if I just did a big effort, so my body just doesn't stiffen up and I just feel so much better. I also find recovery runs just a great way to have not just a physical break, but also a mental break. Especially if you've been doing these big hard efforts and doing a lot of training, just running easily just lets you just relax. I don't have to worry about my pace. I can just focus on my surroundings and enjoy my run, and just all I have to think about is my heart rate and, keeping a good form, of course, but it just takes a lot of pressure off those big workouts that I want to do really well in. But recovery runs are just nice, again, both physically and mentally, to have a break. Recovery runs also gives you a way to safely add more mileage to your weekly training volume. And if you're ready to do more volume, it can really improve your aerobic capacity, thus helping you run faster. The better your running and aerobic base is, the more capacity you have to run harder and faster. Easy recovery runs also trains your cardio, respiratory, and muscular system to work more efficiently. And when these systems work more efficiently, in turn, helps you run with less effort, especially on your faster running days. These slower recovery runs will help your joints, your tendons, your ligaments, and your bones get used to the stress of running. And this time on your legs by doing these recovery runs will help strengthen them, as you won't be putting them under a huge amount of stress if you were doing a big, hard, fast workout. There are a few studies that do say that recovery runs flush out lactic acid and helps, again, gets rid of waste products in your body. However, it is important to note that some studies say that the recovery run doesn't really help your fitness, but personally I've been finding recovery runs super important in my schedule because it just helps me just slow everything down so I can hit those paces that I want to hit on my big workouts. Another benefit of doing recovery runs is that because you're doing at a slower pace, you're not using your maximal oxygen intake, and thus you're burning more fat when you do slower runs. And as your body is becoming adapted to do these slower runs, it helps you be more efficient at using your fuel, which is really important, especially in the marathon, and using the fats, because you will use a lot of your energy stores or all of your energy stores in a big effort like the marathon or ultras, and it just helps your body be more efficient at just using your energy stores. And when your body can use fat more efficiently as a fuel, this is called the fat adaptation effect. For example, when you do a faster anaerobic effort, it typically uses carbohydrates as the main fuel source, compared to slower aerobic runs where you use more fat. Because recovery runs, again, are at a slower pace, you're less prone to injuring your sore, tired muscles. And because you're still using your muscles on a recovery run, your brain will avoid using your tired muscle fibers and will use less tired or fresh new muscle fibers. And as your brain uses new muscle fibers and they grow, in the long term, you will increase your power and endurance. Okay, so I've talked about the many benefits of recovery run. When should you do them? I already mentioned this at the beginning of the video, but typically recovery runs are done at least 5 hours or 24 hours after a hard effort. You might be a little sore and tired at the beginning of your recovery run, but that's okay. Though if your soreness is over, say, maybe a 4 or 5, then maybe it might be a good idea to take the day completely off. You know your body, and if it's just a little bit sore from the workout before, then it's probably okay to do your run. So just be really careful. The lingering fatigue that you feel at the beginning, or maybe just throughout the whole entire recovery run, is called pre-fatigue. Studies say that you should run your recovery run between 60 to 75% of your maximum heart rate. There are so many different ways of getting your maximum heart rate, but one way to figure it out is doing 220, subtracting your age, equals your maximum heart rate. Again, this is not perfect, but this gives you kind of a rough estimate of your maximum heart rate. After finding out your maximum heart rate, you can do a few more calculations to find your 60% and 75% of this maximum heart rate number. I'll have the calculations here of how to figure out the 60% and the 75%, and then you can use that as an estimate or kind of to keep your heart rate between. If you don't have a heart rate monitor like the strap or your watch, there's a few other ways you can figure out what pace to run your recovery run at. One way is to run 60 to 90 seconds slower than your typical pace, or for me, my marathon pace. Another way to know what pace to run at is being able to hold a conversation while you run. This is called conversational pace. So if you're running with another person, you should be able to hold a full conversation without having to do it in short bursts or just single words. But if you're alone, you can sing the alphabet, or you can kind of be aware of your breathing and make sure that it's not turning into this shallow breathing and that your heart rate's not spiking, or you can feel when your heart is pounding a bit. So if you feel like that, maybe it's time to slow down a little bit. Your recovery run should never feel hard or at a taxing effort. It should just feel enjoyable. It all depends on how much you're running during the week, but I've heard between 70 to 80% of your weekly kilometers or mileage should be at an easy pace. One element of an easy run is that yes, you are running slower, but that doesn't mean that you have to slow your cadence down. And again, if you're a beginner runner, you don't have to worry about your form so much, but if you're more advanced runner running a lot, maybe thinking about your form, like keeping a good cadence, but just shortening your stride so you don't have a slow cadence on your slower runs, that might be something to think about. If you're just a beginner runner, don't worry about your form, just try to run relaxed and natural. And then when you get, more of a base and more experience running, then you can start thinking about your form. Just started my recovery run, and I definitely can feel how sore I am in my legs from yesterday's workout. My workout was hills, and I haven't done hills in forever, so it means that I should definitely start doing more hills, especially for Boston this fall. So it was a good wake up for hills are good, but my hamstrings are really tired. I'm doing this because I also want to make sure that I can keep a conversational pace, and since I'm by myself, I can talk to you and make sure that my breathing doesn't get too huff and puffing, which means I'm going too fast. I'm trying to keep my heart rate in zone 1, which for me is kind of 140 or sub 140. It just means I have to slow down a little bit. I also think it's the heat that is making my heart rate a little higher or just harder to get lower, because it takes your body about 2 weeks to get used to any kind of change, like heat, altitude, cold. So I think I'm just trying to keep it 140, but I think that's just part of why it's been higher than usual. I also found after my first shot of my vaccine that my heart rate was pretty high, so I think it's just a lot of factors. I saw other people just have their watch screen at just the heart rate, and I've heard of other people like setting an alarm or like a alert when they get their heart rate over a certain like number on their recovery runs or easy runs, that it would beep at them. So I thought that was a really cool idea. I haven't done the beeping one, but I'm just trying to keep my heart or my watch face on just the heart rate, not the pace, because I find I really struggle with that because I want to go and hit a certain pace. But again, recovery, easy runs, it doesn't really matter the pace you're doing. It doesn't matter because this is all about recovery, and you can't recover if you're going too hard. So it's just something I'm trying to really work on recently. The only problem with having just the heart rate is I don't know how far I've gotten. So I'll have to switch screens and figure out what
distance I've gone, but I know this route really well. This is a typical route of mine, so I kind of have an idea of what the distance is, so that's nice, but maybe I'll find a screen that just has heart rate in distance, so we'll see. Still figuring it out. Maybe I should vlog every easy run because this is harder than it looks, and I'm trying to keep like my breathing easy, relaxed, but it's hard to talk. I guess this is what happens when you run alone. You don't talk, so as I mentioned early in the video, you can sing the alphabet, but really, there's no better gauge than talking if you're doing too fast of a pace. So, yeah. As I mentioned before, recovery runs are usually done after a hard workout, and it's okay to feel a little sore at the beginning or through the whole run. So that's just something to keep in mind, that it might not feel the best, but it's the best thing just to get your body moving. Of course, take the rest day when you need to take a rest day. That's without any doubt, but recovery runs are where it's at. Oh my word, it's so hard not to look at the pace. It's killing me. I hate seeing numbers on my watch. But again, it doesn't matter, but I'm just sharing you my struggle. And I really want to speed up. Trying really hard not to. How I structure my recovery runs in my week, it depends on like what week I'm in my training schedule. Like right now, I have Mondays off. So for me, a recovery run is really on Thursday and Saturday because I do my speed workout on Wednesday and my tempo on Friday. Once my schedule changes and I start running on Monday, then that will kind of be a recovery run as well, because a hard effort, a long run is kind of a hard effort because you're out there for so long. So, but right now I only do 2 recovery runs, and then Tuesday is kind of just an easy run. When I start running doubles, the second run will kind of turn into a recovery run because you're out on your feet again. And again, usually the second run is an easy pace, conversational pace. So it's just about time on your legs, really. And I mentioned before, recovery runs are a great way just to safely add mileage or kilometers to your week. So, but right now I'm not doing doubles, but just eventually my doubles, the second one will turn kind of into a recovery run. It's nice that lights gives you a chance to kind of calm your breathing down. I mean, I hate stopping for lights, but sometimes it's nice so I don't have to stop on my run. I can just use this time to lower my heart rate and hopefully, yeah, get it a little lower. This run has not been as successful as I'd like in keeping my heart rate low, but I'm also sweating so much. It's really hot, so anyways, I'm trying. Recovery runs are a really great way to teach your body how to run on tired legs. This is especially important for marathon runners because at the end of the race, your legs are going to be tired, I'm sorry to say. So this is just a really good way to learn how to run when your legs feel kind of heavy and tired, like mine do right now. But it will help me in the marathon training, so it's worth it. On recovery runs, it's also nice to try to run on some dirt or turf or anything other than, asphalt, sidewalks. You can sort of give your legs a break. Overall, this recovery run has been pretty good. Always something to work on, like my heart rate, but it was good to get out, get my legs moving. I know I'll feel better after doing this or from doing this. So I hope you enjoyed going with me on my recovery run. And if you want to see more of these kind of vlogs, please tell me in the comment below.
How about you? When do you fit your recovery runs in your weekly running schedule? Do you have any tips for how to keep your recovery run easy or what has helped you? Please share in a comment below. If you have any suggestions for video topics you'd like me to cover, also tell me in a comment below. If you like this video, tap that thumbs up button. Happy recovering, and I'll see you next time.